SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft successfully executed the Crew 10 mission, sending 4 astronauts to the International Space Station. With the successful space docking, 2 American astronauts stranded at the International Space Station for 9 months can finally return to Earth. SpaceX live-streamed the mission, garnering significant attention. This success is also a major positive development for Elon Musk, who has recently faced a series of setbacks, allowing him to breathe a sigh of relief. Due to his deep involvement in politics, Tesla has faced widespread boycotts in Western countries, causing its stock price to plummet and Musk's net worth to shrink significantly. Meanwhile, the recent Starship launch ended in another explosion, failing to achieve substantial progress, which has drawn considerable skepticism toward SpaceX. The success of this mission gave Trump an opportunity to vent his emotions, as he criticized Biden as the most incompetent president in history for abandoning 2 astronauts in space while portraying himself as their savior. However, amid the jubilation in American media, I feel compelled to pour cold water on their celebration. I am even surprised, since when has a simple task like space docking become cause for the self-proclaimed world's #1 superpower, the US, to stage a victory carnival? Is this a comedy or a tragedy? If I remember correctly, the US lunar program has been delayed multiple times, with the current goal set for a 2027 moon landing, leaving less than 2 years. This complex and colossal project consists of multiple critical components, including the Orion spacecraft, Starship, the Lunar Orbital Space Station, and the Lunar Rover. But so far, not a single component's reliability has been verified. After the 2022 mission, the Orion spacecraft was found to have abnormal wear on its heat shield. NASA plans to mitigate risks in the 2026 Artemis II circumlunar flight mission by adjusting the re-entry trajectory to shorten high-temperature exposure time. If this adjustment fails to address the heat shield overheating issue, subsequent missions will come to a complete halt. The Lunar Orbital Space Station Gateway was originally planned to be launched by the SLS rocket, but it has now been rescheduled for 2027 using SpaceX's Falcon Heavy rocket. Given SpaceX's current technological maturity, it is uncertain whether the launch will succeed. Gateway's deployment timeline aligns closely with Artemis III. If Gateway is delayed, NASA may need to adjust the mission architecture, increasing both complexity and risk. As for the lunar rover, NASA has opted to outsource its development, requiring multiple companies to develop a mature and reliable rover within 3 years and conduct launch verification. An extremely challenging task. The Athena lander, launched on March 2nd, failed to stand upright, marking the mission as a failure. For these competing lunar rover companies to produce a reliable product by 2027, the difficulty is immense. While the next-generation spacesuits have been developed, they have not been tested in the real lunar environment. However, this risk can be mitigated through safety redundancy measures and can be temporarily overlooked. Overall, NASA's lunar program involves multiple stakeholders, with an extremely complex architecture and numerous mission objectives, far exceeding the difficulty of the Apollo program. Yet the US has chosen to rely primarily on commercial outsourcing, with far less investment compared to the Apollo program. For such a complex project to be rigorously advanced in a short time through coordination among different companies, I believe the likelihood of success is 0. I predict that the US will absolutely not achieve a moon landing in 2027. NASA needs to abandon its fantasies and avoid Indianization, becoming a second ISRO and a global laughingstock. The more realistic approach for NASA is to delay the lunar program, enhance technological advancement and reliability verification for each component, simplify the lunar mission process, and lower the objectives of the first moon landing, focusing on the core goal of astronauts successfully landing on the moon and safely returning. NASA should not attempt to package a grand project and achieve the establishment of a lunar base in a single launch. Moreover, from the recent flurry of launch missions by U.S. companies, it is evident that while commercial companies have a rapid iteration pace, their experience base is far inferior to that of professional aerospace institutions supported by sovereign nations. Their technical foundation is also very weak, with missions having a low baseline and high risks. For unmanned missions like lunar rovers, commercial companies can iterate technology through frequent launches. However, sending humans to the moon and safely bringing them back highlights the disadvantage of commercial companies' technical stability. In my video last year, I pointed out that Elon Musk is severely overestimated. Though he is my idol and has very grand plans, my understanding of him is straightforward. A dreamer skilled at hyping concepts and attracting massive investments in fields with moderate difficulty and suitable for heavy investment, such as near-Earth orbit missions, electric vehicles, humanoid robots, and AI large models. He can achieve results relatively quickly. However, for complex plans like lunar landings and Mars missions, his progress will never be smooth. Take Tesla as an example. While it quickly achieved the commercialization of electric vehicles and established a brand advantage, it has fallen behind in subsequent core technology competitions. Tesla lags behind BYD in battery technology, has been overtaken in intelligent driving, and trails Chinese companies in product design, functional innovation, and cost reduction. Tesla's humanoid robots, despite Musk's repeated hype, have not garnered sufficient attention. In contrast, compared to robots from Chinese companies like Unitree, they have been described by foreign tech bloggers as suffering from Alzheimer's, with slow and rigid movements. Consider Starlink as another example. It was the first comprehensive global near-Earth orbit network system and gained many users. However, due to its early launch and imperfect design, Starlink's competitiveness has sharply declined in the face of China's state-backed Qianfan constellation plan. China has core communication advantage companies like Huawei, combined with various state-integrated research institutions, giving the Qianfan constellation plan stronger functionality and better scalability from the outset. As for Musk's other masterpiece, XAI, it consumed 200,000 NVIDIA high-end GPUs to achieve performance comparable to DeepSeek. Whether XAI can keep pace with the next wave of technological advances from companies like DeepSeek remains uncertain. After all, competitors can improve by increasing computing power and optimizing architectures, while XAI's computing power has already reached unimaginable heights. Further advancements would require astronomical financial investments and terrifying electricity demands. Musk is a great innovator, always able to identify technological trends and lead new tech revolutions. Unfortunately, in the era he operates in, American industry is in severe decline, unable to support his grand ideals. His technological innovations often pave the way for Chinese companies, and under the relentless impact of Chinese companies' imitation and secondary innovation, he gradually loses his edge, becoming a marginal player. Even so, Musk's SpaceX remains the best-performing company in the entire U.S. aerospace industry. Its Dragon spacecraft has successfully executed multiple space transportation missions, with stability far surpassing competitors like Boeing. On such a frail technological foundation, it is perplexing that NASA aims to use a single, highly demanding space mission to widen the gap with China and restore confidence in the U.S. aerospace industry. I even suspect that SpaceX's stable near-Earth orbit missions may be the last bastion of American technological stability. In grander endeavors like lunar landings and Mars missions, the U.S. will be overtaken by China due to industrial decline, and the gap may widen. I do not believe in technological engineering shortcuts or leaps. Just as China cannot bypass the limitations of EUV lithography to produce high-end chips out of thin air, similar constraints apply to space exploration.